Okay, so as part of our yesterday's session, we started understanding how we are configuring the beans by using Spring annotations. So in place of XML, we are using now onwards uh, annotation based configuration. And what are the things we have to take care as part of the annotation, how we are defining the beans as part of the annotation configuration point of view. We discussed the details yesterday. Okay. So today also we'll continue to that. So we will take again few more examples like how we are writing the configuration classes and how we are configuring bean methods. And whenever you are writing the bean methods, what are the rules we have to follow and what are the things shortcuts we can follow or what are the operations wise what and all we have to do. We will try to understand in today's session also. Okay. So now whenever you created a Java class and whenever you want to make sure an object is created by the container for that Java class and with respect to annotations, what we have to do is once the class is ready, we have to make sure created a configuration class for that. So what we have to do is we will always write a configuration class like this. So when you are saying a class as a configuration class, whenever a Java class marked with configuration class, then that class only we can call it as a configuration class, and inside that class only we have to configure bean methods like this. So where in which class? Always configuration classes. So once you configured your bean classes inside the configuration classes, what you will do? You will give that information to the Spring container. So which information? The configuration class information. So you are telling to the container like, hey container, in this configuration class, I have defined lot of bean methods. So please process those bean methods like that. You given the information here it is. Like similar to XML only. If it is XML, you will give the XML path. Now today it's all about in place of XML, you are using the configuration class. So class extension is always dot class. So in the real time execution, runtime execution point of. So you are telling like class name dot class. So this is the class we created and we annotated with an annotation called as @configuration. So now these classes are eligible to write down the @bean methods. @bean methods here. Okay. So now in yesterday we created multiple beans for the classes. But the one thing what you have to remember always is whenever you are writing the bean method, here it is, you have to make sure for which bean class you are creating the object or bean has which for which class the bean object has to be maintained by the container, so that return type should be maintained for the bean method. That return type should be presented. And as a developer in the bean method itself, we have to make sure sorry guys so we have to make sure an object is created like this, and that is what returned always. So whatever the object is created after this method execution is completed, whatever the object is created, that method is going into the control of Spring container level. Now Spring container taking that method, storing inside the container and managing the life cycle of the container. Now the container is taking care and taking the control of that object by assigning the bean ID. So we given bean ID, right? So that bean ID will be assigned to that object, and that object is now under the control of container. So now in future, whenever you are accessing student one bean object from any class, whenever you are asking the container, hey container, I want bean object of student one, then immediately it will return to every other class level. So it will return this bean object. So that means in this case, as a developer, we return the logic as part of the bean method to create the object. That means one time you return the logic, and the same object is went to the control of container, and container is giving that bean object whenever you want in any class in entire project level. So that means you need same object in 100 places, some reason. You are not creating 100 times object. You are not at all creating 100 times object. As a developer, we are not writing like 100 times creating the object. We are created only once and we hand over to the Spring configuration, so that object is managed by the container and that object is injected wherever you want 100 times. So that means object creation happened only one time, but you are reusing that object wherever you want, and simply by asking the container, you are getting that object. So that is how content. So in this case, Spring Framework is reducing the number of times you are creating the object. So it is encouraging reusability of the object every time. So that means whenever you want the object, ask the container, container will give you that object with bean ID like that. So this is the overall concept of Spring Framework, even with respect to XML or whatever it is. Now, whenever you return bean method, what will happen? It will, for example, assume if I return a method like this. So I return a method like this, and I return something like get call is 3. Now tell me with respect to get call is 3, a bean object created or not? Bean object created or not? No. So why the reason is it's not a bean method. So why you are say how are you saying like it is a bean method? You cannot say like sir I return method inside the configuration class. Yes, you can write methods inside the configuration class. You can write normal methods also, but in this case, container will not execute this method. It will leave container whenever it comes to this method. It will feel like this method is not responsible for me. The reason is you are not given at the rate bean. So container will execute the methods only which you annotated with at the rate bean. If you are not added anything by at the rate bean, then those methods will not be executed. If you want, see here, I will execute and I will show you. This is get college 3 method, something like that. I just written simply like that. Now, if this line is printed means internally this method also created by the container. So let's see practically whether it is calling or not. So I'm just handovering same execution. I'm just executed one more time. Now if you observe here, college is created 2 times. Okay. And if you see the line, whatever I just added in the bean method level internally, those are all not at all executed. But if I return same thing again here, college 2, yes. Similarly, if I return same statements here also like college 1, yes, it will be executed. Because why? Those are all annotated with the at the rate bean. So what is the point you have to understand here? It is only methods which are annotated with at the rate bean, those methods only executed by the container internally, but not the common that but not the methods which are doesn't have any at the rate bean configuration, at the rate bean annotation. So now let's execute same thing one more time. See now it is saying get college 1, get college 2. But what about the get college 3? Why it's not executed means you are not given anything. At the rate bean annotation, you are not given. Here it is. So that means what is the points you, so these are all details we will discuss now. So what you understood now is in a configuration class, these are the mistakes so many developers, so many students are doing, guys. They are simply configuring, they are writing a method inside the configuration class and they are forgetting at the rate bean, and they are feeling like sometimes it's not, sometimes they are forgetting, sometimes they are feeling like I written a method automatically it will be executed. No. In a configuration class, if you are not annotated a method with at the rate bean, okay, then that method will not execute, then that method will not be executed by container. So internally container will not invoke that method. So that is true or not, we observe right now. Yes, it's not invoked because you are not added the at the rate bean point of view. Okay. So and yesterday we understood also, whenever you want to configure primitive data, all this information you can do directly like this, string value like this. But when it comes to one bean object having dependency of another bean object, that we will discuss after some point of time. First, we will see how we are making the bean methods and what are the rules and regulations we have to follow. Those details we will discuss here. Okay, so this is clear now. But in a configuration class, you can write normal methods also, like as usual in the core Java point of view. But if you are not annotated with @bean, that will not be executed. Okay, this is clear. Now, next point. If I added @bean method, so what? I added @bean method and I'm not provided any bean ID. So I'm not provided any bean ID. Yeah. So see here, what is that we did here? Bean annotation without bean ID. So that is what the scenario we are discussing right now. Bean annotation without bean ID. So I added only annotation, but not bean ID. Now, in this case, what will happen? Because we will provide bean ID in the XML configuration always, but this time I did not provide any bean ID here. So now it's a valid bean method configuration or not. Let's see here. So is it a valid or not? So that means my point, next point is, in a configuration class, if you are not annotated a method with @bean, then that method will not be executed by the container. Okay, point number one. Okay, point number two. If a bean if we are not provided bean ID as part of @bean annotation along with bean method, okay, inside a configuration class, what will happen? So that means the overall context here it is, I added annotation but not provided the bean ID. What will happen? So guess, let's see, whenever I'm just making this kind of questions, guess your own answer by the time I'm revealing the answers, by the time we are sharing practicals. Just imagine yourself what is happening and try to correlate with my explanation. Is your analysis is correct or not? Okay. So if you are not provided bean ID as part of @bean, what is going to happen? Let's see here. So I given bean but not bean ID. But in this case, first of all, first two question is method executed or not. So bean method executed or not. If executed, any exception, because you are not provided anything, right? If executed, any exception comes or not. If no execution, that means everything is executed good. Sorry, if no exception, that means bean method is executed by container without any exception. If no exception means everything is executed as expected. Then what is the bean ID? Bean ID. Then what is bean ID? Okay, this is what. Now, if not executed, that means if not executed means any exception. Then what is the exception? Okay, if not executed, then there is nothing to discuss, like earlier point of view. There is nothing to do. So if it is not executed, that means simply nothing to do. First point is, first of all, we have to understand bean method is executing or not. If executed, any exception comes or not. If no exception, then what will be the bean ID point of view? We have to discuss here. It is. Yeah, that kind of analysis is more important. Just imagine yourself and make your understanding whether it is right or wrong. Then you will come to know that. Okay, let's see here now. I return only @bean. In previous method, I given bean IDs. I return @bean now. Now, if I am not given, nothing is executed. But this time I just added bean, but without bean ID. What will happen? Let's see here. Okay, so I think I can keep all this logic, but if you are concentrating straight to the point, then we can avoid this sometime. Now see, it's all simply container level. We are passing the configuration class and we are just understanding things are happening or not. Okay, so execute the container, create the container and see. Now observe here what happened. Call is 3 also called. That means bean method is executed. Bean method is executed, and if you observe here what is college is created. So that means what's happened in this case, guys, when you given bean id, if you are, I mean, if you are not provided bean id but you given at the rate bean, okay, along with bean method, what's going to happen here? It is program will be executed and as well as bean object is created. So the answer here it is bean object created. Bean object is created. So that means bean method is executed. Bean method is executed because inside that bean method execution, I mean bean method, what is the logic you written? Creation of object only. So ultimately bean method is executed and you created object here. So that means first of all the point is bean method is executed and as part of that internally bean object is created. Now what is the bean id in this case? Now how can I get it? What is bean id? So that means because if I want to get bean object, then I need bean id, right? So then in this case what is the bean id? So if container create bean object means definitely container will assign always a bean id. That we know that. So now if I want to get the bean object from the container, I want bean id. So what is the bean id in this case? What I will do, I'll keep this class as it is. I'll take a separate class, Spring annotations demo 2. Yeah. So what I will do, I'll delete all this because you know all these things now. This, okay. I'll remove this one also. So I don't need to give all this information again. Now see here, I mean, same thing. Again, I'm just executing one more time in a new program point of view. All configuration class point of view, all bean methods are executed and even created. Now, how can I get the third bean object? If it is second point of view, you know how to get it. College 1, college 2, something like that. You are giving the bean ID. Like you given college 1, then it will give the college 1 bean object point of view. But what about the college 3? Here it is. Just I'll give you the details. Wait a second. Cast it. Then sys out of college. Like that you are doing so that you got the bean object here. You got the bean object because college 1 you given. But if I want to get the whatever the latest total 3 bean objects is created in this case, right? 1, yeah. So 1, I mean 2, 3. I mean college 1 bean ID, college 2 bean ID. But what is the bean ID in this case is what container will do is method name. So taken as bean ID. So what you understood now? Method name is becoming bean ID. So that means as a developer, so the summary point here it is, if we provided bean ID name as part of @bean, then container will give preference, container will give preference to name which is provided. If not, that means if you are not given, then container will feel like, so container will check only @bean is available or not. So then once bean object is created, bean method is executed and object is created and taken into the control by container, then it will observe developer given bean id or not. If we given, then that will be assigned to the bean object level. If not, then what container is going to do is, I mean container in the sense Spring Framework container, that means Spring Framework implemented like this. If not, then container will assign bean id as method name as bean id. Method name as bean id. So that means tomorrow when you're attending any written exams also, if you got a configuration class with this and don't feel like there is no bean id, so that you will get a compiler time error or some exception or whatever it is, bean object will not be created, some exception or error you will get it. No, it's not like that. So it will take method name as the bean id. So whether it is true or not, see here. College college 3 equal to container dot get bean of what I given method name as a bean id in this case. So cast it to college sys out of college 3. So I'm just printing. Now see, if that really with this id, if there is no bean, and then you will get the bean, I mean no such unique bean definition exception if it is not there. Now what happened? A different object. So that means in this case what container is done means it created bean object with the method name. So what will happen? Method name becomes bean id. That is what happens here. It is. Okay. So this is all point of view. Then yes, container level bean object will be created and that bean id will become method name is going to become bean id. Bean id is nothing but get call is 3. Whatever you given as it is, that will be taken for the class called as college. So bean object will be created. Okay, fine. Now next point. If I repeated bean id, if I repeated bean id 2 times, irrespective of data type or same data type, whatever it is, I given bean id 2 times, same bean id, what will happen? That means assume I am creating the college object one more time, public college get college object, whatever it is, method name I given. But in this case, return new college. What is the next use case we are discussing here? It is at the rate bean I given, and then here I given college 2. So what is the point here? It is I given same bean id 2 times, college 2, and if you observe it, here also college 2. I given 2 times college 2. So that means same bean id I given 2 times. If it is XML, what happened, guys? Same bean id repeated 2 times. More than once. So what will happen? Bean creations will fail or success. If it is XML, what happened? Container created all the beans clearly, or it thrown exception? Yes. No, 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 no. Expected one, found two. That is at the case of dependency injection. This Raj. Okay. Expected one, found two. When it is injecting something. Now I am not talking about any injection. It's straightforwardly container is going to do what? Container is going to create an object. First object already one object is created with call is to. Okay. And then again you create for one more object also you created call h2. Then by the time already call h2 is there, so that means this bean creation will give an exception. So this bean creation will give an exception means finally you will get an exception now. Like that. Expected one, found more than one, that is dependency injection level whenever it is injecting, but not in this case. Anyway, see the exception now. It is override. Instead of exception, how can I say that is, see in this case what it is trying to do is it's overriding the latest bean object. So how can I say that is, see in this case what's happened, but not in except XML you got an exception. You given duplicate bean ID in the XML level, but in the annotation level, what is happening? The behavior understand. So what I given college to for the same class, right? Now in this case, which college to? In this case, even though I given duplicate for the same college point of view, nothing is happened. No exception is done. But if you observe here, how many times college object is created? Even I can do one more thing. I will leave this class like this. I'll do one thing, guys. Give me a second. Control C, Control V. Bean configuration. We'll make precise example instead of mixing all these things. Configuration 2. So, and this 2 level, I'll give configuration 2. Okay, fine. So that means I given this time 2, configuration 2. Go to the configuration 2 class. I'll remove all other things so that we can precisely discuss what's happening and all. Yeah. So in this case, total 2 college objects I created. And I said like if you are giving duplicate bean ID, for example, I given here also college one. Okay. And the difference between first college one bean object is just you are creating an object without configuring any values. That if second bean object which you given again college one, you configured some college name, college count, all these things. So that means in a priority point of view, first assume container executed in this order. First this bean object is created with college one. So and college name equal to null, count equal to 0. Why? Because you are not configured any values here. Now assume after it is moving here, then again it is also college, but you given again college one, then what will happen? In this case, it's not throwing any exception, right? So assume it is overridden the same bean object. So that means it is deleted existing one with college one. It is taking the priority of new one. And then if that behavior is happened, what will happen? College name equal to ABC you will see. If I am printing, it should come college ABC and count will come 500. Assume this is one kind of behavior. Second behavior is it is created for the first time, null and 0. And whenever it comes to the second, then container thought like, hey, I already have with college one bean object. So they given one more time. So I don't want to create this bean object. Like that it is ignoring. So if it is ignoring second bean object means still you're in the container level, this object is available. So now what is happening? First behavior or second behavior? That means taking the latest bean ID and taking the latest bean object by the container, or it is just giving priority to the first configuration what you did and it is ignoring the second one. So what is happening? Let's see here. So I'm executing the college one, right? So I will delete this one also. If you see here college one point of view I'm doing, first of all, let's see how many objects are created for the college point of get college method. College is created, and which method is called? College one is called. If you go here configuration 2, college 1, college 2. So which is called, guys? College 1 is called. So that means what happened? As per our explanation, second behavior is happened. So that means once it is created with college 1, again you created with college 1. So simply it is ignored this one. Simply it is ignoring this one. Which one? The next coming one is all are ignored. So that means in this case, this is ignored. That's why this method is not executed. So that means in this behavior, what is happening? In the container level, an object is already created with college 1. College 1. When the first one is executed. When it comes to second, it is checking with college 1 any bean object available or not. Yes, it's already there. So then it is not executing the bean method. If bean id existed, not executing, so that's why still it is maintaining the first one whatever is created with this college 1. So see here. That is what you observed here. It's not calling the second means it's not executed. That means there is no overriding happen. If you want to see the values also, this is sort of college dot get college name, college dot get count. Okay, so let's execute. See, null and 0. Now if I am shifting this to first place and then I'm just moving above 1 to second, and then see college 1, college 1. Same bean ID I given. So here I given college information. I did not given anything. Now which one will be executed? So if you should play with all these scenarios like this, guys. See now what happened? Same behavior. So that means the first one is taking into the picture. Second one are ignored, but it's not throwing any exception. So what happened here? It is same bean ID repeated more than once with the beans configuration. I mean, it's all about at the rate bean methods. What's happening? If it is XML, simply you will get exception. We saw that. If it is annotation, no exception. But the behavior is what is happening? Container is taking first bean method into consideration and executed. Okay. And executed, and that object is managed by container. And rest of bean method are ignored. It's not even executed. If you observe here the behavior, it's not even executed. This one. If it is executed, then you would also see this one. Then you will see whenever it is executed, even you will see constructor message also. That means not at all executed, simply ignored. So it identify like, okay, already bean object is existed like that, and rest of the bean methods are execute. Okay, ignored. Okay, so why I am discussing all these things are very, very important. So in a real-time Spring application, Spring Boot application, people are getting confusion with configurations only always. Okay, so now the third next point what I will take is okay, we discussed more than one bean object, more than one bean ID, and configuration of the values and everything. Now my next point is how many configuration classes can we write? So I written as of now only, I mean, name wise I written two, but I'm passing to the container only one, right? So my point here it is how many configurations classes can we write and pass to container. Pass to container. Yes. We can write many configuration classes and we can pass all at a time. We can pass all at a time. Okay, so let's see for this also an example. What I will do is I will not touch this project. I'll keep this as it is. I'm taking new project, Spring annotation configuration hyphen 2, so that I'll upload all these projects. Now this is the latest project I taken. I just copy pasted. I got all my pom.xml jar files and everything. Even I got the source code also. I'll delete it. Now see here what I will do is so this all that this comparison we are already done yesterday, and I will delete all these things. Okay, so I'm just creating container here, but what I'm trying to make sure here it is this demo2 I'll delete. I maintain only one. College is there, one bean object. And now here I maintain configuration class 1, configuration class 2. And what I will do, I'll create college 1, college 2 here. I'll remove here. So understand. In the configuration class 1, I given student 1, student 2, college 1, college 2. In the configuration college 2 level, what I will do, I'll give college 3. Okay. And again, first I'll give like this instead of going with the scenarios. So now what happened? Total 2 configuration classes I maintained, 1 and 2. So in one level, I given student 1 bean object, student 2 bean object, college 1 bean object, college 2 bean object. In 2 level, I given college 3. So that means in this point, I given 2 student objects, total 2 config classes I have. And in the first one, I given student 1 comma student 2 and as well as college 1 comma college 2. Now similarly second configuration class level I configured only one bean method with college 2. Sorry, college 3. College 3. Okay, this is the use case. Now how to pass these two configuration classes to the container? Let's see here. So that means you can write more than one configuration and you can pass all at a time to the container also. So then what it will do is it will go one by one configuration classes. So how to pass here it is. As of now what you did guys, you passed only one configuration. If you see here, the overloaded constructor, it is class second one, 3 dots. What is that 3 dots is? In a core Java there is a concept available where args. Okay, variable args. So that means you can pass n number of arguments. If you have 1, okay. If you have 0, okay. If you have 2, belongs to same data type, you can pass any number of. So by separated by comma, you can pass any number of values whenever it is a where args concept. Okay, so what I will do, first one I am taking this and I am coming here dot class, comma, second one, this one, right? Take this class name and I'm telling to the container this time, configuration class 1, comma, configuration class 2 dot class. So for everything you have to maintain the dot class. Class 1, comma, class 2. Configuration class 1, comma, class 2, like that you are maintaining the details. So class 1, configuration class 2. So you given two configuration classes to container at a time. Now what container will do is, container will go to this configuration class first. So that means it will open this one. So then internally it will, you return bean methods, right? So it will start creating bean objects. So it will start creating student 1, student 2, college 1, college 2. From the from the perspective of what you given beans, student configuration class level, and then college 1. and then college 2. And immediately same container, what it will do, it will go to the next configuration class because you given second. So here you configured all this, right? It will execute this. So that means with all that data, it will create one more bean object, and with all that information, and one more bean object will be created with college 3. With the college 3. So total 5 objects will be created. So that means you can create more than one configuration class and they can pass at a time also. So see here, total 5 objects are getting created or not whenever you created the container. Simply you're segregating into multiple classes. In one class, when you feel, see, student created 2 times, college created, college created, college created. So that means total 3 times college is created. Here only thing is just maintain the method name something else, whatever it is, then it will be very clear. So if you see here, college 1, college 2, so everything is created. So that means simply you are segregated into 2, 3 Java configuration classes. So that means in what is the point you can understand here it is, you can write more than one configuration class. So more than one, you can write at a time. Okay, that is the point I want here. And yeah, now again duplicate. So what you have to do is, I'm adding assignment point of view here itself. You can check it. I don't want to do all the things again. So if you given, you know that it's all common sense. First it will go to the first bean. See, as I said, first it went to first configuration class. Why? In the constructor first parameter level, you given this one. So it will go with the first one first, and then second one first. Assume in the second one level, you'd given again duplicate bean ID, like college 1. Okay, so you given college 4. This is college 4 method, but you given duplicate bean ID, like college 1, what you given in the first bean configuration level. So now what will happen? With respect to first one, it will be created. When it comes to the, in the process of executing one by one bean method, it found with college 1, then what we expected? Ignoring. So you just observe this behavior. Even I shown you. See, get college 4 is not called. Okay, here get for college 4 is called. So why? So it's all again taking priority like that. So what we did, where we written that college 1, college 2, get college 1. Yeah. In this case, student object is created. So what it is doing is, I mean, there is some order available, guys. Okay, I'll tell you that order later. So what it will do is, sometimes whenever you declared with the things in multiple configuration classes, in the configuration classes level, it will follow some alphabetical order and all. We will come back to that in the component class point of view. I will explain that. So don't, just for time being, it just executed college 4 from the configuration class 2. So that means what happened in this case, the priority shifted from this to this college 1 being object to this one. So I'll explain you what is the reason and all. You will come to know slowly. Leave it. But in the previous point of view, when you given in the same single configuration class itself, like this, it given priority to like college 6 and get college 6, and you given here college 1, and you pass it to container only one configuration class, then it is doing different behavior. So these are all behaviors, note down. Maybe in interviews sometimes they will ask, but especially in written exams you will get all these questions. See now, what executed? First one is executed. But whenever I am making second one is configuration, in the second configuration also I have college one. So that means college one configured in the second one, as well as in the first configuration class also, one time, two times, total 3 times. Then the priority going to second one again. So if you see here, get college 4, but not college 6 also. That means there is some priority is managing. We will see that later. Okay, if you observe here, I'll explain that later. Now if you observe here, I can do one more thing also. I can explain you that reason later, but it's making a lot of nonsense in this case itself. If you observe here, which one executed, get college 4 is executed, right? So what I will do, Get college 3 I will do. No, I already get college 3 is there. I think any spelling mistakes are there. So anyway, we will cover that later. So don't worry too much about it. I'll just cover it later. And when I'm discussing about component point of view, I'll bring a point, then you will understand. That's why I asked you to test from your side so that I can verify later. I can give you clarification why it giving priority to the get college for instead of college 1, college 6, all this point of view. College 1, college 6, college 4, college 4. Okay. So I'll give that reason later why it is, how it is priority speaking, because we have to discuss one more annotation component also. Then also I'll explain all these scenarios. Then we'll together I'll explain it. So you, that's why I just thought of saying you just observe given same bean ID in different configuration classes. Just observe this behavior and keep it up with you. We will discuss with another annotation which comes in the after some time. Okay. Yeah. So now you just observe it, then I'll come back to that later. All S3 I will maintain here, and then in this case also I'll remove this. So total student 1, student 2, college 1, college 2, and in the second point of view, college 3. Okay, fine. So this is what we discussed as of now. Now the next point is, you know that if you given wrong bean ID when you are from the container perspective, what will happen? All these details you know that. What I'm doing, first of all, close all. I'm getting confusing with all these things. College 1, college 2. Yeah, college 3. Okay. So this is the latest project we created, right? Okay, fine. So now what I will do, if I given wrong bean ID, what will happen from the container? You you know all that story. I'm not discussing about it. In XML also we saw that. So if I given container dot wrong bean ID, it will give no such bean unique definition exception. You will get it. That discussion we no need to bring here. For example, I given intentionally ABC. Okay. So then what will happen? It will try to get the ABC bean object. What will happen? There is no a bean with the ABC. No such bean definition exception. We saw this already. Okay, fine. Now next point is there any way we can create bean object without writing at the rate configuration class at the rate bean? Because as of now, what you observed, if you want to create a simple object, if you want to make sure a container has to create an object for a class, a simple object means without any information also, you are making always writing a configuration class, and inside configuration at the rate bean method you are writing, and then you are creating the object, right? So is it possible to make sure? So we discussed all these things, more than one bean method, all these things we discussed. I am coming to this point only. I'll discuss this point now. I'm, if bean id not provided, then what will happen? Yeah, this is what we discussed. Method name will take more than one configuration classes. We just discussed we can do that. One configuration class bean methods. Yeah, this scenario we covered right now. Bean method name will take in this case. Yeah, when only one bean, there is a separate method available, get bean method. I'll discuss that again as part of this concept. Now the next point is creating bean. Bean means object. That means created by the container. For a class, an object is managed by the container means that those objects we are calling it as a beans, right? Creating bean without at the rate configuration class and at the rate bean method. At the rate bean method is possible or not? Is possible or not? If it is possible, that's why only I given this heading. Otherwise, I will not discuss, right? Okay, but how it is possible? What are the things we have to take? Let's see here. Yes, it's possible. So yes, we can do that. So yes, it's possible. Okay, so what I will do in this case is, so that means I'll write a class now, something like product information, product details, whatever it is. Now, in this case, I want to create an object by the container. Container should create an object for the product details. Object for product details. Container should create. And I want to make sure without at the rate configuration or at least without at the rate bean method. Yeah, without at the rate configuration also I can make sure. I'll show you that. Okay. And with configuration also I'll show. But only thing is I'll take like this. I'll take like this. First point, nested point of view, I'll remove at the rate configuration also. First point is creating bean with without at the rate bean method is possible or not. Then I will avoid configuration also. Yes, it is possible. And if I want to create an object for the product details class, what we have to do, see here. Okay, let me give you, yes, by using, I'll create a new project by using an annotation at the rate component, at the rate component, by using at the rate component, we can create the object. We can create the object. Yes, this is the most important annotation in real-time application point of view also. So that means most of the times when you want to create an object, even we will not write bean methods in the configuration classes. Without writing any bean method itself, we can create a object every time. I mean, we will make sure Spring is created an object for that class without writing bean methods. So this is what we will use in the real-time scenarios mostly. But I will tell you at what scenarios you have to go with at the rate bean, at what scenarios you have to go with at the rate component also. So that means what you understood from this overall, a bean object will be created, bean object created in two ways with respect to annotation. What is at the rate bean one way, or second approach is at the rate component. Whether you have to write at the rate bean method, then bean object will be created, or else you can use component annotation solution also, you can do that. But which one you have to choose, either of them, I'll explain you. At last we will see the difference. um, so I'm keep on creating the new projects, it will become use. Okay, for this I'll create and I will use it. Spring annotation and component. Next, finish it. Okay, so component, yeah, this is the project I created. Configure, converted to Maven project, And what I will do, I'll copy paste from here, dependencies. After build in between project. So I just given my dependency so that all jar files will be got here. Now the project is ready to do the spring operations. Okay, let me write a Java class first. What is that class name we decided is product details or product information, whatever it is. Okay, I'll reuse it. Product details only, right? Yeah. So I'll take same class name only. Okay. So package name I'm taking. In Spring, package names are more important. I'm already telling you one more time also. See here. com.dilip.it.bean something I taken and I taken class name and the product details is the class I'm creating now. Private integer ID, private string product name, private double price, double price. So like that, and source generate setter getter methods to see the values point of view only. All this. So many points I'll bring out from this component annotation, guys. So it will take one more class also. Annotation wise, single annotation only, but you have to understand many points. So it will take one more class also. And everything is very important with respect to real-time point of view, interview point of view, what we are discussing today and tomorrow also. See here. Now what I said, if I want to create object for this, generally I'll write down the configuration class and inside the configuration class, I'll write down the bean method. But this time, my point is I don't want to write at the rate bean method, but still I want to create an object means yes, in Spring, it became a shortcut now. So how to create object for this product details class is see here. By using component annotation we will do. So what we have to do is please mark the class, please mark the class with an annotation called as with an annotation at the rate component. So please mark the class which object has to be created by container. So what it is saying is for whatever the class you want to create an object by the container, mark that class with an annotation called as at the rate component. So now in my case I want to create object for this, right? So here I am marking my class as component. So component is an annotation again from the which package, guys? This package, Spring Framework only. Please observe these packages always. Okay, this from this package. So this component is an annotation called as, from this Spring Framework. And if you see here, the package name they given as stereotype. In most of the interviews, so many interviews they will ask you a question. Do you know stereotype annotations in Spring or Spring Boot, whatever it is? Do you know stereotype annotations in Spring or not? So that means one of them is component. So the why they are calling a stereotype, I'll tell you later. But total four will be there. First one is component, but you will introduce later in the MVC module level, controller, service, repository, like that. Different annotations in different modules level I will introduce. But total four will come. But one of them is stereotype annotation is one of them is component. So that means this is the most important. This annotation is the most important annotation in entire Spring Boot modules. That much powerful annotation it is. Why and all you will see, you will understand later. The most powerful annotation, and it is having dependency with other annotations also. So why we will understand later. Now see here, what I did, I annotated my class with at the rate component. Okay, cool. Then next what you have to do, so that automatically container is going to create the object means, let's see what I'm doing. Point number one, what we did, please mark that. Point number two, yeah, this is the first point you. Second point of view, create a configuration class. Create a configuration class. Even I will avoid this configuration class also in the next example. In a hierarchy point of view, we will give. Right now we are eliminating @bean method to create the bean object for a class. Create a configuration class, and inside the and in that configuration class, provide an information of component classes. But what, how will you provide the information of the component classes? Let's see, here it is. So let's see, create the configuration class first. So I'm giving again meaningful name like spring beans configuration. Something like class name. And you know how to, when we will call it as a spring configuration class, if you give an annotation called as configuration. Okay, cool. Now I said what? You have to provide component classes information to the configuration class. Why I said component classes today? It is one object called as product details. In a real-time object, in a real-time point of view, assume you are having 100 component classes. So that means simply 100 Java classes. So then you have to provide information of all these 100 classes, where these component classes are located. That information you have to give inside the configuration. Because why? The same configuration class you will give again to the container. So when container opening the configuration class, internally it will identify component class also. Internally it will identify component class also. So how to provide is, so here again Spring provided an annotation called as @configuration. Sorry. Component scan. Component scan. So what is that annotation is component scan. So by using this annotation component scan, so that means a new annotation is involved again. That's what I told you. So many annotations you will get. I don't know how will you remember it. You can remember only if you are doing the good practice. Otherwise you cannot. So what is that next annotation is? Component scan. So by using component scan annotation, we will configure package names of component classes. Package names of component classes. Package names of component classes. So that means I said what? In the configuration classes, you have to give information of component classes. So that means whatever the classes you marked with @component, those are all component classes I can call. So this classes information you have to give in the configuration. For that you have to use one more annotation called as component scan. And even in this component scan also, what information you will provide is where your component classes located in the packages, in which package your component classes are located. Now go and observe the product details. What is the package name? com.dilip.it.beans. So in this package, now product details class is implemented, and that is marked with @component. So that means now this information I have to provide inside the configuration class. This package name I have to provide inside the configuration class. But how can I provide? By using one more annotation called as @component scan. @component scan. So see here, @component scan. If you see here, One more annotation at the rate component scan. Now you can understand the meaning. Scan means scanning. Scanning. So what you are trying to say in this case is component scan. And here you will have some base packages concept and everything. What you will do is you will give the package name here directly. So see here what I'm doing is I'm giving this package name here. What is this? I given it this package name here it is. Only package name I given guys. So that means I'm trying to say here it is com.dilip.it.beans. There is a component class is available. So create the object. Now I'm not writing any bean method. Observe here. I'm not at all talking about at the rate bean. So now what I will do, let's create the container and pass the. So I'm creating the container object now and passing the configuration class now. Application context container equal to new annotation config application context only, and the class name is configuration class name. What you given spring beans configuration, right? Yes, spring beans configuration dot class. So what you did in this case, same process, you given the configuration class to container. Now what immediately it will do is it will open the configuration class. So this time you return this configuration, right? Understand what will happen now. So you return this logic now. So whenever this logic you return, then immediately whenever container went to this configuration class, immediately it will observe, okay, this time this guy is saying by provided one more annotation called as component scan and given a package name. So what is the meaning of it is? What is the meaning of it is? What is the point of this one is? We are telling to the container like, please scan, please scan the package called as com dot Dilip IT something like that dot beans, whatever the package name you've given. So you are saying like please scan the package called as com.dilipit.bean and its sub packages. I'll tell you what is sub packages. Okay, and its sub packages, I think by the time you know the sub packages in core Java, this is all core Java concept. But anyway, I'll give you one example. Please scan the package called as com.dilip.it bean and its sub packages. Okay, for the component classes, for the component classes. Now what container will do is, okay, let me scan this package. Under this package, how many classes are there? And it will start scanning one by one. And as part of the scanning, what it will do is, it will identify the classes which are annotated with at the rate component. So that means whenever it is scanning, while scanning, if container found a class with at the rate component annotation annotated classes then container immediately creates an object. Container immediately creates an object. So now in the process of scanning, what is the package name? com.dilip.it beans you given in the component scan, right? So then what it will do? It will go to this package first. It is package. So that means this package. Now it will open this. Inside this, a class called as product details annotated with at the rate component is available. Then immediately an object will be created for this product details. An object will be created for this product details class by the container. So that means immediately what class it found under the scanning? It found a class called as, for time being, product details. Product details is the class, right? Now whenever it is created the product details class, I mean found the product details class, then it will create object for that class. So now container created immediately an object for this. Container created an object for that class. So which class? For the class called as product details. Why it is created for product details? Because it is annotated with component. And what is the bean ID in this case? So we know that when container created a bean object, every time it will maintain definitely bean ID, but you are not given anything. So in this case, what will happen is class name will become bean ID. I'll give that point later very clearly. But anyway, I'll take light right now. So what it is doing is product details like that. It is taking the bean ID. Class name is becoming bean ID, but a small differentiation will happen here. It is I made small p. Yeah. So in this case, bean ID will become class name will become bean ID only. Product details. But one small thing what it will do in Java is, I mean Spring will do is, it will not copy class name as it is. If you observe here, it is follow it bean IDs will be taken. The note here it is. I'll write here. When container created bean object for component class, then container will check provided any bean ID or not. If not provided, that means we can provide individual bean, I mean our own bean ID also. I'll show you that option. If not, then container will assign class name as bean ID, class name as bean ID. But small thing what it will do is it will convert class name converted to camel case. Naming conventions, guys. That's why in core Java, I used to worry about always, I used to tell you, please practice things always with the proper naming conventions. You will, otherwise, so you will get the benefits in future like that I told in the core Java. That is the reason now. Now what we'll do in this case, what is your class name? Actual class name is product details. Now when I'm writing same thing in the camel case point of view, first word in the lower case. So that means P becoming lower case in this case, and second word onwards, first character will become uppercase character. So this like this. Now assume if you are writing a employee class, for this camel case is employee. If you return my students information is the class, then camel case will become m will become small and my students information like that. So that means simply it will make first character into lowercase and based on that only it will assign the bean ID. So this formula it will apply if you are not given it. But we can give manually also whatever the bean ID we want. I will discuss that later. So in this overall process, what it is doing, whenever it is scanning, it found a class called as product details class with at the rate component annotation, because you are telling component scan, right? So that's why it is scanning all component classes. Inside that it found product details and a bean object is created, and bean ID also given class name only, but in the format of camel case. So now whenever bean object is created for this, then all ID name price value will become default point of view, default values. ID equal to 0, name equal to null, price equal to 0.0. So like this, the things will happen now. Whether it is true or not, see now. Automatically product object is created or not, see here. I given only configuration class information, run as Java application. See, it's terminated successfully. but that means something issues are not there. But to understand that, what we can do, I'll write a default constructor. Sort of product details object create. So many points I'll bring out from this component annotation, not today. Tomorrow, the entire class goes around component point of view only, like how to give bean IDs. If I given multiple constructors, what will happen? If I did not give a default constructor, what will happen? If I want to create one more bean object for the same class, what we have to do? Okay, so these are all details I'll discuss tomorrow. If you given out of the package, what will happen? If you given different packages, what will happen? Like that, we will discuss so many points in tomorrow's session also. So let's see here now. Now, first for time being, what I'm doing, run as Java application. See what happened, product details object is created. So that means in this overall scenario, what you did, you are not used at the rate bean method. You are not used at the rate bean method. You simply created a component. Now, for example, I removed the component. I deleted component. Now, whenever based on this component scan point of view, what it will try to do is it will scan the package called as com.dilip.it.beans, but no class found with an annotation called as at the rate component. So then simply Spring container will come out quick like that. So nothing is there to create the bean object. Now if I added at the rate component, then only this class coming into the radar of Spring container because you added at the rate component point of view. Now run as Java application product. Now what is the advantage of this? Assume you written 100 Java classes, and if you are going with at the rate bean method approach, okay, you don't want to configure any values for those objects. Only object creation is should happen. If you are going with bean method approach, 100 methods you have to write. 100 bean methods in the configuration classes, like you have to write down very longer method at the rate bean, at the rate bean, at the rate bean, at the rate bean, like that 100 methods. But if you're going with same thing with the at the rate component point of view, what you are doing, you are not writing single method and you are reducing the number of writing methods. That is one advantage. Second is the number of lines of logic also. Simply at 100 classes level, you will add one line. So that means nothing but in 100 classes level, add this annotation. That's all. Add this annotation, then automatically container will create the objects. So you don't need to worry about writing a bean method, otherwise bean object will be, if you are added component, it will be created. So is it clear guys until this point? So until this, is it clear? I'm telling you, please practice day by every day so you will understand context easily. If you are missing one day also, so that's what I'm telling you. Today I explained about component scan and all this internal process. Tomorrow, people whoever is not practice it today or who are not listen today, tomorrow when I am continuation to that I am explaining something, then you will have a blank face, question mark place. So that continuity is more important, consistency is more important. So that's why please practice. Now what I will do is I'll write one more Java class component class only, but package is different. Now see here, I'll writing student something like that. And here com.beans dot something like I'll give some college, whatever it is. I written the student class and I'm adding component annotation also. And I would like to make sure constructor also added so that then only we'll come to know whether it is created or not. Otherwise we don't know, right? As a proof point of view, we are doing all these things. Student is created. Okay, fine. And I'm writing one more Java class called as employee in a different package because in this case package is more important. Now I return com.google or something like I will do one thing. Yeah, so let's write with com.google whatever it is. So google.com, Google point of view. Okay, this is also I will add component. I will add constructor for this one also. Google is created. And I will create one more Java class. Mhm. Class called as something like employee, whatever it is. And then here also I'm changing some package names com.dilip.it employee, finish it. And here also I'm adding component. So I want to prove how the component scan is working based on the package name because we given there some package name, right? So that's why. With this point, I will close today's session and tomorrow we'll see other details also. Okay. Yeah. For this also let's add constructor, employee constructor so that we'll come to know object is created or not. Employee object create. So what I did, I created total four classes now with component scan, component annotation, employee, product details, student, Google. But the concept is now total four components in same project, but total four component classes in four different packages. Then how this component scan is happening here. So what is the package name I given is this one. And the same configuration class information I given to the container. Now let's execute it and see how many bean objects are getting created. What happened? Student and product details is created, but not Google and employee. What is the point? Let's understand here it is. Yeah. Now take this point. Now I want this point. So what I said, whenever you given that information with this com.delipit.bean, what you are telling is container, hey container, scan this package as well as its sub packages. So in this case, this became as a base package. So in this case, this became as a base package. And I said sub packages means what, guys? You know the meaning of sub packages? It's a core Java concept. The package name which started with this is always called as sub package star. So that means if it is presented always a package name presented with this format always, and after that you given anything, those are all comes under the sub packages abc dot xyz whatever it is. This is a sub package. But is it right? Yes, true. Sub package means true. Now I written like this. So is it a sub package? False. Why? I told this is the main package and its sub packages based on the component scan point of view. So that means I'm telling consider this as a base package. So with this, with respect to this, yes, base package is presented, and after that extension, whatever you given, it doesn't matter. Those are all comes under the sub packages. But if you observe here, it is having com.delete.it, but it's not have the base package. So that in this case, can I consider this as a base package means false. So it's not a base package. So now in this case, what is happening? Understand the point again. Now see the meaning and why objects are created only student and product. If you observe here, see lot of automation when you know the concept very well. Control C, I'll do here. This is what you did, right? Now in the component scan, what you given? You given in the configuration class level, you told like scan this for component classes. Then container started scanning those things only for the container classes. You given this. Now based on this, what container is doing is container is checking this one as a base package. So it is going to the first package com.dilip it. Is it matching with the base package? No. That's why inside this package, if you return 10,000, even 100 classes also, nothing will be scanned because the reason is the package name is only com.dilip it. But I told with respect to scanning, which is started with the com.dilip.beans. After that, anything is fine, but this should be presented. That is what base package here it is. So in this case, it will be called as base package. Remember the terminology. Now, next it will come to the next package com.dilipit.beans. Yes, this is both are same. Yes, now it will start scanning one by one. So it is scanned this one, component is presented, object is created. So scanning this, it's not a component class. It's not a component class. Okay, fine. So that means all classes are completed like that. Assume two more classes are there with at the rate component, then all are created here. Now next it will come here com.dilip.it.beans.college. What you given? College. So it is satisfying this sub package rule. After that, see it in this case, presenting base package is more important. Exactly. com.dilip.it.beans is the yes, it is there. And after that, whatever the extension packages you are having, sub packages, generally those will be called as sub package. Now with respect to sub package, it is matching. So that's why student object is created. Now next, com.dilip.itdbeans, but what it is com.google. Then this is not matching. So that's why Google object is not created. That's why Google object is not created. So that's why total how many objects are created means product details, student object is created, whether it is true or C. Student is created, all this. Is it clear guys now how things are happening with respect to component scan? It's a very simple, common sense, simple, and it's you just need your attention. Okay, now next point I'll tell you, and with this I'll close. Now see what I'm doing in the configuration class. I'm making some small thing. Now can you tell me your answer how many bean objects will be created? Com dot star. I given something like com dot star. So star is means anything else after com dot. Now tell me how many bean objects will be created. Yes, all four will be created. The reason is why this time you given base package com, starting with com. So yes, started with com, good. Started with com, good. Started with com, good. Started with com, good. So total four objects will be created. Okay, so let's see whether it is true or not. That's why I said if you are learning Spring Boot very well, in real time applications you will play very well. You can reduce your work when you know all these things perfectly. If you don't know, then you will struggle like you will give one package name. You know, at one point of time when I'm working in one of my project, my manager is not, I mean not manager, some senior person. He given wrong package name. I mean package name one, and in the component scan level some other thing, and he's keep on trying to create the bean object. Is it's not at all creating. He's struggling like anything. I mean I'm telling like 4 5 years back. After that I just saw him what he was doing and all. Then he said, "Hey man, this is not creating." I said, "Make sure don't give this. Okay, make sure something like com dot star. Then it will scan all your packages which are started with the com like that." I given this hint to him. Then he made same chain and then he executed and all the bean objects are created which are starting with the. Otherwise, what he is doing is he given all the entire package name. So then few things will be missed. But if you are making base in the common point of view, all will be executed. See, all are done now. Now tell me how many objects will be created. Now how many objects will be created? See what happened? Bean creation exception, error creating bean. So it is saying like class path resource, it is saying like that package is not found. Simply it's all about, it is saying like I don't see anything with this package point of view. So that like that it is throwing this exception and all. Now that because there is no packages with org, all these things, right? So you given some invalid. Now if I given com again, then execute the application, it will work. Now if I given com dot Suresh, nothing is there. Started with com is there, but nothing is there. With Suresh, there is no base package. So like that. So just making some proper common pack. That's why in real-time applications, writing a package name is always a good. You have to make sure proper package names. I'll discuss all these details in tomorrow's session one more time. Not one more time, but I'll just when I'm discussing other points, I'll just make sure all these things one more time. Okay. So just make sure now until this, whatever we discuss like com dot star point of view, practice until this today itself. Now all bean objects will be created. All four will be created because all are under the scanner of com dot star. All started with com. That's why everything will be created. Okay. So that's all for today. Anything else if you want, ask me.